what I usually do when I'm killing time. Get back to this. Hold on. All right, enough of that. Let's check this fish out. It's still going a little too hot and heavy. Let me turn that way down. Gentle, gentle buddies. Let's do this. That's more what I'm looking for. Let me get that lid on, just a little more gentle steam. I think I can just riff on this a little more. Sorry, guys. Let's do one of these. We just got to kill a little time here. I hope you don't mind. Let's see who's out there on the other screen. Let's see. Randy Russell, good to see you, brother. Roberta White's still out there. Johnny. Dinner and a show. You better believe it. Let's see. All right. I think that's everybody for now. I'm going to scroll around a little bit. No, that's not working. Let me get back to the other screen. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulty there. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay. We're all back. Let's check this again. Let me wash a finger. I think I got to touch something here. It's time to wash hands. Playing my old funky banjo. Oh, yeah. Whew. Mercy, mercy. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think we're there. So let's get back into cooking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this lid. Yeah. Don't crash. And I'm going to start pulling all this fish out. So you can kind of watch me do that over here. One at a time. Just set them on down and they're just going to rest over here. You're probably familiar with the resting thing. When cooking steaks and red meats and things like that, hey, fish need rest too. Sharks don't. Evidently, they just keep swimming. Sharks never sleep, they say. Underneath all of these red onions, by the way, I'm going to kind of point out, since they were in an acidic environment just now, they picked up a little of that bright red color like you see on, the onions you see on street tacos. That bright purple, right? They were a little acidic in there and they picked up a little of that brightness. I'm almost done picking up fish here. Cheeks, again, they are splendiferous. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to pull out all of these spring onions. We're going to keep that fish kind of in a warm spot. And I'll pull out spring onions. And I got the ginger kind of still hanging out in there with it. And those guys are all well cooked. That's my vegetable, basically. It's just going to be kind of sitting on a bed of these things. And there's the thyme, and I've got a few pieces of ginger in there. It's beautiful stuff. As this stuff's sitting here, I'm going to drop a little salt on it. Maybe I better just taste that first. Let me taste the spring onion here, just a bit. I'm going to drop a little seasoning on this stuff. And those are just going to kind of hang out. I'm going to let them kind of just chill out and rest just like everything else. There's probably a little liquid to pour back in there with flavor. Probably a little liquid from this fish I could pour in there. Oh yeah, that's flavor. And what I want to do now is start getting ready to make a sauce out of this. And so, let's see, I've still got a little bit of liquid there. I'm just going to hold on to that. Get rid of this. Make sure everything's ready. And yeah, I think I'm ready to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start reducing this liquid down a little bit. If I taste this, which I will, it's pretty, weak tea, right? There's not a lot of flavor to it. So what I want to do is concentrate this flavor. I think I'm going to add a little more wine to it as well, just to get a little more tang. And we're going to reduce this down a little bit, and then I'm just going to start working butter into it. And that's our sauce. This is like French cooking 101, Julia Child stuff. She would be doing this. My other salmon, that pet salmon that's going to be cold poached salmon, is just chilling out in its liquid over there. I think I can kind of pull the towel out from under it and let it sit on the marble and kind of chill out. I think I'll hang my banjo up. Boom. All right, so this liquid is just now coming up to a simmer. You can see a little bit of steam rising off of there. I've got extra liquid over here if I need it. I think I'll put it in this other container. I like that better. Doesn't take as much space up. You can see my liquid is reducing. The water is simmering out of it. The flavors are concentrating. I'm going to turn it up all the way. Let's get this puppy going. Come on. I want to go. It's a little piece of spring onion in there I'm getting rid of. It's still a very light color. And la la la, we're simmering down. Now, earlier I have to say I didn't put very much salt into this because of this step here. I'm concentrating things. If I put salt in early, you're going to wind up concentrating salt. Very important. A pan sauce, we don't start seasoning until the end. I talked about that in my saute class as well. Okay. Look at the simmer on that guy. It's boiling all the way around. Sometimes you'll see chefs kind of rotating the pan so it really just kicks clouds of steam off much more efficiently. That's all I'm trying to do is kind of concentrate those flavors. And what I'm going to do is keep tasting it until I like the flavor, and then I'm going to start working butter into it. I want to keep going down. It's still not there. I want this to taste kind of like steamed clams, linguine and steamed clams, that kind of a thing. I'm going to work a little pepper into this guy, but I want to go really, really fine. Because I'm working a pesto into this later, it's going to kind of hide that. It'll camouflage. I got a couple of plates for later. Let those guys warm a little. La la la. Usually you're doing like 5 pans at a time if you're working saute. If you're at home, you could have this pre-reduced ahead of time and then kind of cook off your fish in it. I used a lot of that liquid, the bouillon liquid I used, the veg stock. But this is exactly what it is, reducing it down. You guys see it. Concentrating flavor. When I swirl it, even more steam starts rolling off of it. Come on, baby. I want it to start getting a little thickness to it. It's going to start getting a little consistency from the gelatin from that fish, right? Remember those halibut cheeks high in gelatin? It's going to start getting a little body from just the elements that were in the vegetables. It's going to start tightening up a little bit. Once this gets to about the consistency of like heavy cream, I'm going to start working butter into it. I want cold butter. And this kitchen's a little warm. This butter's warming up pretty quickly here. Usually when I was working the line on hot days, what I would do is I'd cut my butter up just like this into little chips, and I kept it in ice water. So I could just grab little chips of that ice cold butter and work it in my sauces in a hot summertime line. Sometimes those kitchens are like really hot. Your butter won't hold up. Okay, it's starting to get a little body to it. I'm seeing it. You can never tell until you drag something through it. You can't tell how thick or thin something is. Well, I could give you a visual, actually. If you look at the bubbles, the bigger the bubbles, the thicker the liquid tends to be. If I'm making like a syrup or something, at a certain stage, it'll have like little dime-sized bubbles. It gets thicker. It's a nickel-sized bubble, and then it gets thicker, cooks even more water out. And now the bubbles are the size of a quarter. The thicker a liquid is, the bigger the bubbles are when it boils. Oh yeah, they don't tell you that on Food Network. Starting to get some body in here. I'm liking it. But if I try and melt butter into this right now, it's just too loose. If I try and melt butter into it, I'm going to need like a pound of butter to do this. I'm going to taste this liquid. Starting to look like liquid now. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's almost there. By the way, your saute cooks are doing this 100 times a night, right? Whether it's a saute dish or this shallow poach dish that I just did, it's all making a pan sauce for everything. Every sauce is made individually, unless you got an order of, you know, hey, give me 3 of those halibut cheek specials at once. Maybe you can make 3 at a time, but otherwise, you know, you're basically just making pan sauces like this all night. That's what your saute person's doing. The dishes. All right, I'm getting pretty close here. I'm gonna let it go down just slightly more. Gonna pour a little of that liquid back in. I got a little fish liquid. Fish liquid. Everybody loves that. A little kick of flavor. Never throw flavor away. We're getting super close. My bubbles are getting bigger. That means it's getting thicker. Oh yeah. I think I could probably start going. I liked the flavor a minute ago. Just a little bit more. By the way, I want to point out again, I've got extra liquid here that I'm going to be adjusting with, I'll guarantee. Okay. Now, right now, this water is boiling, or this watery liquid is boiling. By the way, the French term is cuisson for that. Flavorful cooking byproduct liquid is a cuisson, a liquid byproduct, okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start swirling butter. This is called mounting butter. And I got to keep it moving. La la la. I can get in there with a fish spatula maybe, break things up. Now, if this butter is too hot or too soft, it's going to smooth into this stuff too quickly, and it's going to turn into a big grease slick. So again, I want to point out, I turned off my fire here. And once I commit to this butter, I'm not turning that fire on again. I'm going more butter. No more fire once you start going butter here. And that goes for any dairy, whether you're finishing a sauce with cream, whether you're finishing a sauce with cheese, butter. Those dairies, those are all finishes, and we do not boil after we add dairy to a sauce. Get it where you want it to go. I might boil cream a little bit. I should take that back. But butter, no, you do not want to boil. Let me kind of get a little closer in here. It's starting to look creamy and saucy now, isn't it? It doesn't look like liquid anymore. It looks like sauce. And I'm going to add more butter into this. Yes, I said it, more butter. Come on. Let me get my spatchy. And again, no fire under this right now. If this butter stops melting, I might turn on the fire for just a minute. Break it up a little, and it'll go faster. I'm increasing the surface area, but they're still cold chunks. So they're still not melting in there too fast. You don't want to add fat to an emulsion, and this is an emulsion. You don't want to add fat to an emulsion too quickly because the emulsion won't be able to take it. So if this butter is soft, it works into the emulsion too quickly, and the sauce can't hold it. And that's why you get a big grease slick if this butter is soft. It looks like beurre blanc, ladies and gentlemen. That is a functioning beurre blanc, or white butter. I'm sorry, butter white. Beurre blanc, butter white. I'm going to give it a little taste, and I just kind of want to see where I am. And notice that I don't want to stop stirring for very long at all. Oh God, that's freaking excellent. I almost said the big F word, the big one. I'm throwing in those last 3 cubes. And we're going to work in the rest of that. That is a functioning beurre blanc, guys. Pan sauce 101. I love it. I think I'm going to take 1 second. Something I just thought of. Where is it, baby? There it is. I'm going to put in just the tiniest little dash of cayenne pepper. Cayenne is the pepper of choice for fish. And so the tiniest little background thing. Also, it's a good pepper for these white sauces too. Not enough to make it a Cajun sauce, but just in the background. And then get the rest of this butter in. And while we're at that butter, I'm going to put in 1 spoonful of my pesto here, and we're going to see what that looks like. How'd they do that, Ma? Beautiful, bright green, fluorescent. Let's make it even more bright, shall we? You guys mind? Working the rest of that butter in. The last couple of little chips. Again, no fire at this point. And let's go ahead and see what this will look like. I think I'm just going to plate with my my spring onions. I'm going to just, let me show you this real quick. I meant to strip the thyme leaves off of my spring onions here. So let me just pull those off and drop them on in. A little bit of thyme, beautiful. Let me get the ginger out of here. I have 2 pieces of ginger, there's one. And here's another. And by the way, ginger keeps kicking flavor out the longer it's in there. It'll just keep on kicking it out. And so what I'm gonna do now is taste one of these guys, because I just seasoned them. I wanna make sure they taste good. One more drop of salt. Tasting that ginger. And I think what I shall do is grab a plate, start dropping some of this down, a little bed of this sticking out. About half of what I got here. And that's what I do with these little spring onions that I see at the farmer's market. They're beautiful. That is my vegetable today. I'm going to get a few of these halibut cheeks. And I just dropped a little of that sauce in there. And I'll just throw about 3 pieces down, picking the most beautiful side that I can. Let me just point something out. The underside kind of looked a little funky. I just feel this is a better side. And then there is a big, beautiful cheek as well. A little trio, if you will. I've got a little bit of purple showing on the plate. Let me show a little more of that. Make sure we can kind of see that. And then let me drop down some of this beautiful green sauce. Let me get a little bit bigger spoon here. And that is that. So this is a shallow poached halibut cheek using a spring onion beurre blanc. We played with a little pan sauce. This could have been slightly thicker. A little drop around here and there. I think I'll do a little bit more of that. And then I think I will drop down some of those really, oh gosh, sorry everybody. It's not looking super hot. This plate color isn't looking super hot with this. Kind of clean up the sides. And that's it, guys. Beautiful fluorescent beurre blanc. I wish it could have had a little more thickness to it, a little more staying power. I could work a little more butter into this and get that going. But otherwise, I think we got a pretty good looking plate there. You guys get the idea. Lots of good technique. And let's take a look at my salmon, if we can. Scooch that guy over. And let's just kind of show you that. And let's see, I'll pull out this piece right here. You can kind of see it. And really all I'm going to do is just kind of taste a piece of this plain just to see if I picked up a little bit of flavor on this. And by the way, gosh, still juicy inside, guys. Let me just break into that. Can you see the shine on that, guys? I don't know what you can see. It's pretty glary. It's pretty bad. But let me get a little taste of this very nicely poached salmon. The big trick here, flavor through and through, right? I have definitely picked up that acidity, the salt, right? It's not just a plain piece of salmon. As this cools off in the liquid, this is going back in the liquid, and as this cools off, it's only going to pick up more flavor and get better and better. So tomorrow is when I actually start serving this stuff. I'm gonna eat that little piece there. But cold poached salmon. Um, I want to point out, all of this, the actual poaching was fat free until I started working a ton of butter into that sauce at the end, right? This cold poached salmon is a really, really excellent technique for you guys to have. And again, you can take the flavor of that court bouillon any way you want to go. That court bouillon again was that flavorful cooking liquid. And again, one that I commonly do is that coconut milk and red curry kind of thing, and just poach stuff off in that piece of halibut cheek or something. I just don't want to get too exotic in these classes. This is about teaching basic technique. I say it in every show. So let me get a couple of things out of the way here. I think that's really mostly what I wanted to cover. I do want to say I've got a show coming up on Thursday with Randy Stanner from Route 64 Urban Farm Stand in Sacramento. He does really, really beautiful produce, and I wanted to kind of talk to him and talk about how he's making it work during the season of COVID. I'm also talking to Chef Craig from Bincho Yaki, and I can't believe this dude's talking to me too. I keep getting lucky here. But we're going to be talking about the same thing, COVID, how they're making it work over there. And I'm also going to be talking to him about Family Meal Sacramento. You've probably heard of it. They are out there doing a lot of good work. They're feeding seniors and they're keeping restaurant employees employed, which is so, so important, guys. I think that's all I have for this episode of Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour. Let's do another one of these, guys. Thank you guys for showing up again. This helps me a lot. I really kind of need to get out of my headspace during all of this. So this allows me to do that, and I love having you guys with me. Try some poaching out. Go over to Industry Cooking Classes group and post your pictures, guys. If you have tried any funky poaches, get crazy with it. Play with flavors, get nuts, get wild, right? And get over there and post that stuff. And another thing, if you are liking these vids, I got a million of them, okay? Go over to Industry Cooking Classes on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel over there, and it's practically culinary school. I'm breaking it on down into technique, guys, and nothing's fancy, but it's that basic cooking technique. Everything is like rock solid, usable stuff that you can use every day, right? Usable stuff that you can use, okay? And so hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys are sticking with it. I hope you're not getting sick of me already, but that is what it is. Let's see. I think the only thing to say is, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the party's always in the kitchen. Please, please, please be safe out there and direct those energies in a positive direction that's going to do some good out there. I hope we can get there, okay, guys? Take care, and hasta la vista, party/kitchen.